So I'm Brandon Mahoney. I'm with Alliance Data from Columbus, Ohio. I'm the enterprise architect of the digital area for Alliance Data. So I'm going to give you a little bit of introduction to what Alliance Data does and who we are. Probably pretty sure most of you probably never heard of them. The problem we were faced with and the solution that we came up with to solve that problem. And then what were our really business results after we installed that solution? So Alliance Data is a company that is a B2B2C type model. We have 365 brands that we partner with. Those brands are retail stores or we'll get into that in just a second. But basically, we offer a credit program from end to end, everything from authorizations, transactions, we hold the debt, acquisition, call centers, self-servicing apps, you name it, of a credit card program. That's our offering to our client. And because we get all that data back, of SKU level data that they actually purchased, we can run very unique marketing and loyalty programs for our clients. So this is a slide of just a sample of some of our more notable clients that we partner with. As you can see here, a lot are retail based. That's where our roots kind of came from. But we are branching out into other verticals like gas and e-commerce, grocery, automotive. About anywhere you can use a credit card, we've got a program running. So what was our kind of current state when we looked at Redis or why we needed it? So we're using a content management system called SDL Tridian. It's our enterprise content hub for all of our digital content. So there's millions of pieces of individual content, everything from sentences of fragments of marketing spots to our self-service web applications, you name it, images, they're all kind of stored off in this system. So kind of the challenges behind that is how are we going to stay competitive in the market with fintechs and startups coming out that were, maybe not offering the full end-to-end solution, but they were bringing capabilities to the industry that were very innovative, and it was hard for a big corporate company to keep up with that kind of pace. So we really needed something to keep us very nimble and able to keep up with that kind of pace of change. So from a content management perspective, we really needed a very high performance, scalable, and stable system to get all of our brand content out there for all of these different brands as fast as possible so we could keep up with the industry. So what we really came up with at that point was moving from more of a monolithic application architecture over to more of a microservices, very independent focused architecture. So we'll bore you with a little bit of details about a content management system, but basically you have your content stored in a UI that the business has, the business users will interact with, that has all their content in the raw form. As they go through their governance processes and workflows and set it to be published live, there's now publishing microservices that look for those jobs, pick them up, and actually bring together all the different pieces that are needed to build that package of whatever they're trying to publish. Once it gets all of those pieces combined together, it will then move it over to another service, which is the deployer. That piece basically looks at all the different pieces and says, okay, this is an image, go clear our CDN out of cache and move it there, or it may be just move it to the file system or a database where content as a service applications can serve the content out to our web applications. So we needed a lot of scalability here because we were publishing a lot of information. So there's a lot of instances of those deployers and publishers running. So we really needed a glue that was very fast-paced, that could keep all of these different servers communicated together and really, all working toward the same goal as the package was moving across the servers. So what we ended up with was we needed a publishing queue to keep all of the information flowing freely from server to server. We used ActiveMQ for that, and then Redis is the store for that data as it's moving through the servers. So basically what we had to have was a very fast, nimble way to store a package of information as it's being transported between the servers. File system was what we used in the past, but it just wasn't fast enough. By the time you wrote it to the file system and picked it back up in the next server, you were really kind of taking too much time, and some of the servers were waiting for it. So what did we really get out of this new architecture? So like I said, we're publishing quite a bit, so about 200,000 publishing transactions per hour. Those transactions are anything from maybe just a snippet of marketing content all the way up to maybe full web pages for a self-service application. So what is Redis doing with all that as it goes through? There's about 1,000 ops per second. Its incoming traffic is roughly 40 kilobytes a second on average, and outgoing about a megasecond. So other benefits that we really saw with the Redis implementation we went with, we have a 2 data center model. So what we needed was high availability out of this. So Redis was keen to delivering that for us. So we have a 3-node cluster in each data center, which gives us automatic failover within a data center as well as across data centers. The other key thing of this was we were able to break down into independent functions to where we could scale our web application servers. There's around 200 in each data center, but we were able to keep our footprint of Redis pretty low to be able to support that, but we can scale each independently as needed. So why were we going with Redis Enterprise? They take care of us. It's top-notch support. They're constantly partnering with us of how are you getting the most out of your product? Are you getting the most value out of it? Is there anything we need to do? Everything from initial startup to where we are today. Fewer resources and lower overhead. So we basically set it up and forgot about it, which means our OpEx is just the server running it. We're not having to pay someone to constantly monitor and patch it and the whole 9 yards there. Simple, seamless, scalable clustering. So most of you guys have raised your hand, so you understand this, but with Redis, it's simply just check boxes as you're setting it up. So what we saw here was it was so simple that we just check a few boxes, and out of the box it was up and running. Compared to a lot of infrastructure in the past, we had to do a lot of different configurations to get it as scalable and operational as it is today. So the key problem that we were trying to solve was speed. So stable and very performant environment, and Redis fits that bill perfectly. So what did we really get as we rolled this out? As we put the whole new infrastructure in place, we're looking at 4 times the throughput that we had in the past. The number's not really, super crazy like you'd see in some other slides, but when you're looking at 4 to 7 days to publish out content for a given release, when you can cut that in quartered, it's quite a bit. Another big key thing that we saw was the automatic failover helped us a lot, to where we went from about 70% uptime to 97 plus. So, a lot of the users weren't as dissatisfied with the product they were using internally to do the content updates. Made our business a lot happier. Some of the other things, speed to market. So there's 2 aspects to that. One being that the system is now faster, so we're getting our client information to production a lot faster. If they have a marketing spot they want to run, it's not something we have to wait till tomorrow to actually do. Just put it in the pipeline and let it run. The other part of that was the speed to market to actually get this up and running as a project. It's the joke of Redis that when we initially implemented this, it was an argument between Alliance Data and the Redis sales team that we wanted them to come on site and help us train and get it up and running. We knew, based off of some other products like this that we'd implemented in the past, we said, we need you to be on site for 7 days. They came back and said, nah, I'm pretty sure 2 days is all we really need. we kind of compromised in the middle and said, we'll set it for 2 days. You guys can stay longer if it's not done yet. By lunchtime the first day, we went through introductions with the team, and we had production running. At lunchtime the second day, our team of like 15 guys that were in there for training and whatnot were looking at us saying, hey, there's really nothing else we can go through. It's time for them to leave, which saved us cost right there. Plus, we were already up and running and didn't hold the project up any. So the next one really streamlined client onboarding and easier ability to scale. So, because our cost of actually publishing this content is now a lot cheaper in manpower, we're able to look at clients that may not have been profitable enough in the past. We're now able to look at those as potential customers of ours. And ease of training. You don't really hire a Redis developer. So it's just something you tack onto your full stack developer. What we've found so far is that we can take a developer that doesn't know anything about Redis, and we can throw them in the deep end, and in a couple of days they're up and running and actually pretty much fully functional on it. So there's not a lot of overhead cost to keep your department up to speed on this. So what are we doing next? So we found the value in Redis. So we're really looking at standardizing Redis Enterprise over, we have coherence cache right now as our enterprise caching layer. So we're looking at switching that over here in some point in the future. And then all the new applications that we're designing, like we said, there's always that new capability in the financial services industry. So every one we're looking at is there a Redis use case there that could help us get it out any faster? So that's what we got. So thanks.
Thank you, Brandon. So what's the one thing you now know about Redis that you wish you knew before you started this project?
I think the key is just how easy it was to use and the actual manpower. Everybody always gets a piece of software, but they don't get staffing for it, right? So you bought this tool, it's nice and shiny and fancy, but we don't have the manpower to run it. It's just something we tacked onto someone else's job. It was super easy with this because the piece we tacked onto their job isn't the main part of their day. It's just something they need to know, but they don't really, their time's not eaten up by it.
Very cool. Thanks so much.